which is the one that we're seeing right here. Dan is highlighting. That includes Springfield. Now remember, Springfield already has been hit by a tornado once today with some damage over on Ridge Road. All this is moving towards the northeast. This is our driving live shot, is it, that we're watching? And this is over in Springfield. So please, let's tell our crews that we have a tornado warning in effect there. We want to make sure that they're being safe as well. Here is some of that hail right now that is falling. And then we look here on our rotation detector, and we can find that we're looking for those greens and those reds very close together with this storm. And Dan was talking about that a few moments ago. When we have a broader circulation, they're not touching. And then when we get them closer together, that shows us that the storm is tightening up, and that's the more likelihood that we're looking at a tornado. But we're watching right here around the Sandy Springs area and continuing right over there a little bit farther off to the southwest to the Goss area, and then you can see Coopertown as well. And Dan is also highlighting the interstate there because it's a little hard to see in this depiction, but this is the interstate, so that's how close this is to the interstate right through there. So I'm only imagining that folks are, if they're seeing this storm, are stopping on the interstate and pretty much concerned, as they should be, about the storm. If you know anybody that may be in that area, give them a call and tell them there's a tornado warning in effect. So try to get to some shelter there in that area. This is continuing to move towards the northeast right now, and folks, anyone in this location, such as Coopertown and all the way up into the Llewellyn area, Turnersville, Sandy Springs, even over to Chestnut, Orchard or Perry Park, any of these communities, you need to make sure that you are in the safest spot that you can be, and that's going to be that lowest level of your home, putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Bathroom, closet. All right, this is our debris detector, and we see a little spot up here, but in terms of being close to the rotation, we don't see that very good signature or that indicative signature of what could be that debris being lofted up with that tornado. But it is here right around Sandy Springs where we most likely are seeing some circulation right now, or some rotation, which could possibly be a tornado. And, you know, very close to some of the same locations where we've already tracked this, because here's Springfield, and that storm is going to be moving very close to the Springfield area as it moves on towards the east. And there is Center Hill, which had quite a bit of hail a little bit earlier. So we're estimating that is about 7 miles there from Springfield as the crow flies. So we've got this tornado sweeping through that area right now. You've got some of the lightning up around Barren Plain, and all this is going to be moving into some of these communities. To give you an estimated time there, Springfield at 5:16 and Spring Hill High School right there at 5:19. If you're in those locations, make sure you're in the safest spot that you can be. If you got that basement, fantastic. If not, just the lowest level of your home, and take all those precautions that we tell you about. We've got so many storms out here that are certainly requiring our attention today. Right now, we saw some video a little while ago here out of the White House area with some flooding conditions, and that rain just continues to come down in many of these locations right now. Like Hendersonville, you're getting more rain. I saw some around New Shackle Island a little earlier, some flooding on some of the roads nearby there. And then we can see Ashland City about to get some more rain. All these spots right in through here under flash flood warnings at this point, from getting 4 to 5 inches of rain. And that's that video I was talking about, by that creek coming up out of its banks there. And we're seeing scenes like that across parts of the mid-state, especially north of 40, where we've had that training take place, where these same storms have been coming over and over the same locations. And look at this. We've got some erosion taking place there with that dirt just being swept across the road there. And look at the water standing in that home there and over to the farm equipment as well. So it's quite the issue, as you can see, with so much water in a short period of time. And Dan is highlighting here Kingston Springs just south of that. Now you can see how much closer we are to Nashville, very close. And this has got some hail in it here as the storm is moving eastward, with some heavy rain that's going to be working in to some busy roads, I'm sure. As here we are just after 5 o'clock. A lot of folks are headed home right now. And there's more back where this came from, because we're talking about one supercell after another, and there's one just down to the south. So Fairview, this storm continuing to move towards the east right now. And this is Spring Hill, this is Franklin here. So really having some heavy downpours, a lightning show moving into some of these locations. And this is Columbia. You've got this batch coming in right now. There is a tornado warning with that cell. So this is one that we've been watching as well. And I want to make sure that you are taking those precautions as we're tracking this storm as it moves into Murray County right now with that potential tornado. And here's a little bit of that rotation that we've been watching, those winds blowing toward and away from the radar site. And we're looking for things to be really tight together there, giving us what we call good gate-to-gate shear, which is a meteorology term that you'll hear people say from time to time. Just means that storm is tightening up a lot and could be producing that tornado that is coming across 412, headed over to Mount Pleasant. And on this path at this speed, that's going to take it over to Columbia within the next 20 to 30 minutes. So we'll keep a close eye on that for you. But that's going to be the main part of the storm because already you're starting to see some of the rain there in Columbia. And no doubt you're getting those rumbles of thunder there in the distance and seeing that lightning. That is quite an electrical storm there. Even more rain off to the west of that. And of course, that has prompted this flood advisory that is in effect for this area. Wow, that's a large area too, where these supercells are coming across. And we've got them one after another on this particular view. So it's one after another moving here into the mid-state. We've got flood issues all the way up with almost each of these storms here north of I-40 because of the training taking place and some of them going into the same spots over and over. And those are headed into Nashville. I mean, we are talking about maybe a half hour at most from downtown as this line is moving on through. There's some of that rain coming down, and that our driving live shot, where's Pleasant View. Okay, over in Pleasant View, that's another one of our cars out surveying what's going on, and you can see some very heavy downpours, and that was in one of those storms we were just surveying just a second ago. And then a little farther off to the north, we are taking you back up to the Pleasant View area. That's where that car is, and Coopertown is just north of there, and they are right along I-24 right now as they're driving along and looking at all that rain, and looks like they're in one of the really thick spots. It looks like traffic is slowing down on the interstate in response to all that heavy rain. A lot of flashers are on out there as well. Of course, we recommend that you not get out in this today if at all possible, because we do have so much rain that unfortunately is leading to some flooding issues in many spots. And notice somebody was pulled over there under the overpass just trying to protect themselves from all that heavy rain that's coming down and maybe just doesn't want to drive when it's coming down that heavily. All the way up to the north, you can see as we travel up this line of storms, we've got more areas of hail coming down. But we're hanging on this shot, just showing you this proximity into Nashville as this storm is moving towards the east. So if you're in Nashville right now, just be thinking about, what are your plans? Where are you going to be if there is a tornado that comes through Nashville? I mean, make sure you know exactly where the safest spot is in your home. If there's anything outside that you don't want blown away, maybe from these high winds, you might want to go on and secure that, any patio furniture. And I was thinking about hummingbird feeders, which I think I left out on my deck, those kinds of things. You want to make sure you secure those things so that they're not blowing through the winds when they do come through with this storm, and a lot of heavy rain too. So we're getting a new storm track here so we can show you where this is going to be and at what time. And it's going over to Vaughn's Gap at 5:15, and then over to, I have to pull it out there a little bit. Yeah. WSMV Studios at 5:17, Jordonia at 5:17, and then continuing to West Nashville at 5:19. Belmead, 5:19 is the estimated arrival time, and over to the campus of TSU, that's going to be right around 5:21. Bordeaux at 5:21. If you're in Whites Creek, the estimated arrival time is 5:22, and Jolton at 5:22. So we're looking at heavy rain. Try to get home, stay put if you're in Nashville, any of these communities out ahead of this system, and just kind of hunker down until this storm passes by. And then, of course, we've got yet more later on tonight, but we've got to get through this batch first off with all this rain and the lightning and the hail that these storms have been producing as well. Farther down to the south, we've got folks in the Cool Springs area, in Franklin, in Ladd Park, in Thompson Station, and over to Leapers Fork. This is going to be coming to you very, very quickly, especially if you're in Leapers Fork, as all this is moving towards the east right now. And this is that cell that we have had a warning on, and it moves towards the east right now. So we've been watching that one very closely. I don't see that tornado warning anymore on that cell, so perhaps it has been allowed to expire. But we can see that we do have a tornado warning here a little farther off to the north, if I am seeing that line correctly in here. I know it's so confusing because we have so many lines going on. That just shows you what a day this is. That tornado warning in effect until 5:30, so for about 20 more minutes, and we have several severe thunderstorm warnings in here as well, just from the high winds and the hail that these storms are producing right now. So folks here in Greenbrier, if you're in there, Coopertown, these are all areas that are under that tornado warning right now. And of course you can see just how much rain and all that lightning that we're seeing. And Dan kind of highlighting this so it's a little easier to see that storm that we're watching right just off to the east of you if you're in the Greenbrier area, and that is moving towards the east, northeast right now. So if you're in Greenbrier, make sure you're in your safest spot. And also Cottontown, that storm is going to be moving to you too, all under, the potential for seeing damaging winds with these storms, and there is that possibility of a tornado there as this continues to move on towards the northeast. Dan?
All right, Lisa, let's look at a number of things. First and foremost, we got to report that with this cell up around Cottontown and into Robertson County, a funnel has been spotted. So we're talking about this storm here. There's also another one backing through here we got to watch. Any of these could actually drop a tornado. So we have the tornado warning. I'm going to zoom out just a hair, and so we'll identify where that is now. And you can see essentially it's this polygon, which is much of central Robertson County, down to the south, down to the Davidson County line, and back toward the north. So east of Pleasant View, be on the lookout. Not far, just to the west of Cottontown along the interstate, also be on the lookout. Let's look for areas of rotation, and there's two little ones that stick out. And so we'll look at both of them. And if you're near either of these, you got to be in your safe spot. One, just east of the tornado warning, you can see over here, but in the tornado warning itself, right over Coopertown, be in that safe spot for sure. So we've got inbounds toward the radar, outbounds blowing away. So Chestnut Orchard, if there's a tornado right now, it is along 431 or approaching 431 in Robertson County. And so Chestnut Orchard, Crunk, Betts Road, Cooksey Store Road. There's Cedar Hill, Top Ridge Road, Old Coopertown Road, York Road, that general area, just to the west of Greenbrier, and Greenbrier heads up, it's coming your way. Coming up toward Cortland here shortly, and eventually crossing Old State Highway 11. Now, if you live out there, you know what I'm talking about, and you are in the thick of it right now. So there's that supercell storm on the south side of Springfield. We got a report probably 5 minutes ago of some pea-size hail in Springfield. It's probably a little bit larger right now, especially southeast of town. Let's take a look at that other tornado-warned storm, because down again across Lawrence County, there was a report that that cell had a wall cloud that was rotating along the Lawrence County line. This is getting really close to Columbia. Brand new tornado warning for that until 5:45. This was just issued by the Weather Service. So I'll draw the new one for you. It includes Santa Fe, Mount Pleasant, Columbia, Lanton, very close to Spring Hill. This is the storm. And then back here on the western side around Mount Pleasant is where a tornado would be in progress. You see on the left side of your screen, that's up in Robertson County. That's Highway 76 at Interstate 65. And it's an awful night to drive. Some people are stuck in it. I see some flashers up there, and it's just a really hard night to navigate. Almost looks like it's getting dark, but you know what? The sun goes down in almost 2.5 hours. Just remarkable how dark that storm is. But watch out down in the western side of Maury County now. Mount Pleasant, Highway 43, around Needmore, Ridley, some of the roads, Pisgah Ridge Road. We have Cannon, Ashwood, Zion, Pleasant Hill in Murray County, Hampshire. So you're in this now, and Hampshire probably had some decent-sized hail. And so we put this in motion and show you how that will impact Murray County. The worst of it, probably the heaviest hail, largest hail, heaviest rain, probably passing northwest of Columbia, but the threat for tornado probably passing right over downtown Columbia. Time right now is 5:16, and notice distance from Columbia, 11 miles, so we're talking probably as we get closer to about 5:40 or so. I do want to show you what's happening around Davidson County because the weather's getting a lot worse. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for the western side of the county until 6, and that's with this cell that's over Ashland City. There's a lot of lightning. There's probably some embedded hail, especially back in through here, Dixon and Cheatham counties, and that's going to roll across Goodlettsville, Millersville, Jolton, and Jordonia. A short time ago, I had concern for big hail back around WSMV and Westmead. But right now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like we're gonna actually in Westmead and Bellevue just get this garden variety stuff, and then farther south, there's a stronger cell, the one that's going to roll into Columbia with that hook, and rotation detectors is actually showing some sort of warning ring down in that area. Tornado warning farther north for Robertson County still until 5:30, but I do want to track this one. I do want to track this one across the northern part of Davidson, and so you can see there's the. I always look at the time progression for 30 minutes so I can accurately draw what I want to draw here, and it shows the leading edge of the heaviest downpours moving east at about 30, 35. Should get to Jolton in 10 minutes. Should get to Whites Creek and Whites Creek High School around 5:30, maybe 5:32. Davidson Academy, that's in northern Davidson County in your area around 5:36. The downpour is really picking up. The frequency of the thunder out there will pick up a lot as well. And so we'll see all of this overtake Davidson County. Right around WSMV, we just heard a pretty good rumble, and we have heavy rain about to move into our parking lot. Again, distance for the heavy rain to downtown Nashville, we told you an hour and a half ago, we said about 5:30. I'm telling you, at 5:30, I think it's going to verify. It's 6 miles away. And so we get a couple of tornado warnings. We've got more heavy rain back to the west, and there's a whole lot more still to come in tonight. Lisa?
Yeah, unbelievable that we're going to see more of this coming through. Right now, folks down in Lawrenceburg, hey, it is so much calmer for you there. But boy, you follow that line up, and it's one supercell after another that's formed just an arc that's moving across the mid-state. And some of this is about to plow right into Nashville, as Dan was mentioning, just 6 miles away. Just to look at our map, we have so many green lines. That's representing, for the most part, flash flood warnings and in some cases flood advisories. But whether it's one or the other, what that means to us is there is a lot of rain that has come down that is causing some flooding issues in many spots. So please be diligent if you're out driving, and we don't want you to be. Just know that there's going to be water standing on roads, and you'll want to find another way to go. This warning is at till 7:15. So if you've got some pickup of kids tonight, or you just got a loved one traveling home, make sure they're aware that you want them to come home safely, so that they're watching out and finding another direction if they encounter some of that water that is flowing across the road. Remember, it only takes 6 inches of water to knock you off your feet, and then just 18 to 24 inches, depending on the vehicle, to sweep a car off the road. So just watch out for that tonight. Columbia, you are seeing some of those incredible storms coming in right now with our warning right through here. You can see that red indicating a tornado warning that remains in effect for parts of Murray County as that storm is moving towards the east-northeast. And just because of a heads up there, it may be coming your way if you are in Murfreesboro or close to it. Spring Hill, you're in line to get some of those storms right now too. That's downtown Nashville that we're looking at there. This is where we see a potential tornado on the backside of the storm that is right there at you if you are in Mount Pleasant. That warning ring indicating that we've got the storm rotating. could be reaching the ground. So make sure you've got yourself and your family in your safe place here. The warning ring will pop up for us, and that's our computer saying, hey, there is something going on here. This storm is rotating, and then we can switch and see what it looks like. And we have here reds and greens very close together right now. So a good indication that we've got rotation taking place in the storm. And the question is that storm reaching the ground or not? Remember, the radar beam is up above the ground, so that's why we don't have that ground truth. But we don't want you to wait. We want you to make sure that in Mount Pleasant, you're in your safe spot as that storm is rotating by and has some powerful winds, irregardless of a tornado. Ashwood is one of the little communities it's coming to. Also around Ridley, Zion, and over to Fillcrest, Graymere Manor, Bel Air, and of course Columbia is some of the areas where this is going to be headed within the next little bit. So do be advised that you need to be in your safe spot. If any of those are where you are right now, we want you to be protected there, putting as many walls between yourself and the outside as you possibly can, grabbing those pillows and blankets to help protect yourself from any flying debris. And there's Columbia right there. This tornado potential is coming very, very close to you. And this is a tornado warning, so I want to make sure you're taking this seriously. And remember, there's a lot of rain out here today, and it may be very difficult to see a funnel cloud. That's why we advise you not to wait, not to look for that confirmation, just to head right on in. Look at this storm. Just amazing how much lightning we're seeing with these storms today. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for this storm. This is the one that's going to be moving here very close to you. If you're in the Nashville area, see some of these communities up here, Inglewood, and then over to Madison as all this is moving towards the northeast right now. We're talking about some very high winds as this moves through. So if you're here in Nashville, if you're over in the Forest Hills area, maybe in Green Hills, if you've got something outside, some patio furniture, something that's not secured, you might want to grab that and bring that in, or some hanging pots, because those things could be blown down with this very high wind that we've got coming in association with these storms. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect here, and that remains in effect until 6 o'clock tonight, and that does include parts of Davidson County as the storm is moving eastward right now. But you can see there's a lot of rain here and also some hail. So it looks like a lot of that is going to go across the northern portion of the county, but let's all be ready for it as it moves on towards the east, and just get on inside and stay there until this passes by. You can see Ashland City. Boy, you are getting a lot of it right now, and that lightning show is right on top of you. So we're hearing rumbles of thunder here. I know it must be loud claps of thunder for you there over in Ashland City as we're tracking this towards the east right now. This is our first alert radar site, and here at WSMV4, our first alert weather team is the only team that has access to this live radar here in Middle Tennessee. So this is going to give you a little more updated version of what's going on. It's not going to be an older image, like 4 or 5 minutes older. This is what's happening right now. So when this sweep goes around, it takes it about 60 seconds to sweep across the area, and that gives us a brand new picture of where the storm is every time it does so. But that's right there in Nolensville, and it's going to get us a good view of what we're seeing here in Cool Springs, and then right on into Franklin, over to Leapers Fort, where you are right in the thick of it right now. We're scooting a little farther up to the north, and our beam will also sweep across here and give us a good view of what's happening in Nashville as these storms are starting to move through. You can see all the lightning here off to the north, and we, of course, have had some hail in here, very large size hail. And we could see, you know, some pretty good size hail coming into Nashville as well, maybe golf ball size hail with these storms. So we want you to be mindful of where the storm is right now. But if you have a few minutes in some of these spots, you could drive your car under, but not in the tornado warned spot. We have a brand new tornado warning that is in effect, or at least we're highlighting it here, and that's in effect until 6 o'clock. And that includes folks here in Millersville right now. In this area, we're identifying a storm that is showing some signs that it could be rotating. We could have a tornado touching down with this storm as well. So that's the latest tornado warning until 6 o'clock here, including folks who are in the Millersville area. That includes you if you're in Goodlettsville too, and also in Cottontown. We're looking at our reds and greens together there, and we see them close by, indicating that twisting in that storm right here where potentially we could see a tornado. Another little batch pretty close together up there around the Greenbrier area too. Safe place, best place to be here in this area. And we can, Dan is identifying this right there around Greenbrier. We can also take a quick look at our debris detector too here in just a moment when he gets that going. And here's some of the roads that we see here associated with this. So if you're on Smiley Hollow Road, if you're on Betts Road, maybe making your way over to Hillman Road, any of those roads, that's where we're seeing the most likely areas where you could see that tornado moving through within short order here. A lot of heavy rain is coming through that area right now and a lot of lightning with the storm too. But that could be a possible location where we could see a tornado, and that would be a very rain-wrapped tornado too. So you wouldn't be able to see that funnel shape if you were outside looking out the window. So just be extra careful in that. Make sure you're in your safe spot right there as the storm is moving towards the northeast right now and making its way right on through to Millersville, to Goodlettsville, to Cottontown, and even Hendersonville is just on the edge of that warned area there. In Gallatin, you're just outside of it, but the storm will be moving to you before too much longer as it progresses towards the east. Our camera view is showing you just all that rain that is moving in to Davidson County right now and into the Nashville area. It is making its way at a pretty good clip straight down the interstate. And also look over, speaking of the interstate, look over to Mount Juliet. It's not too far away from you. It's going to be moving in within the next little while here and just starting to make its way into Nashville right on time. Here it is at 5:26, and the estimated time we had was 5:30. So the rain is coming on through. And then checking here around our radar site, this batch of storms here moving on towards the east, and that is one of the areas where we have a tornado warning in effect. This is Columbia over here, and you can see our warning ring, and wow, look at that hook right through there, likely where we could be seeing a tornado right now with this. We've got a good camera view here. What you're looking at on that camera is our First Alert Live radar. That's where it's located, and you can see the trees swaying there as we're looking out towards Nolensville right now, and you can see how thick those clouds are. But this is in Columbia where we're seeing this right here, that potential tornado that is circulating. And that's a pretty tight rotation that we're seeing right now on our First Alert Live radar. So please make sure if you are off to the north of Mount Pleasant, if you are in Columbia, make sure you have picked out that safe spot to be and that you are there right now or getting there within the next few seconds, because this storm is barreling down and coming upon you here if you're in Columbia. We don't want to scare you. We just want you to respond to these tornado warnings and don't go looking out the window. Just head on in there and make sure you're safe until this storm is beyond you. Looking there at the interstate, that's I-65, and wow, over in Goodlettsville, we've got some of that heavier rain getting closer and closer to you, and it's just going to pick up in intensity. So kind of have to feel for those folks that are out on the interstate just trying to make their way home this afternoon. And here we see that we're looking for those reds and greens. Not anything really tight together here. We have a couple of different warnings coming together, but we do have that possibility that some of these could quickly tighten up, and that's been the nature of these storms today. We have had a few that have quickly went from maybe not so organized and then quickly ramped back up again when another tornado warning was issued. And that's what we were looking at, some of the rotation and the path of that rotation that it had taken as the storm has moved on towards the east right now. So we've just been walking up the line of these storms, and Dan is outlining here where we're looking at that tornado warning. Again, it includes Greenbrier, Cottontown, you're just on the line there. Millersville, also Goodlettsville included in that too, with all this working towards the east right now. And we're diving down for a little closer inspection of where we're looking for that storm twisting. And you don't see it really, really close together right now, but it is there. So there's a broad rotation right around Ridgetop. And if you're in Ridgetop, again, you need to be in your closed-in place, your safe spot, which I always think of about is building a fort. So putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible, just trying to protect yourself from that storm and any flying debris that may be lofted by that tornado as it circulates around and moves into your area. Let's pull out and show the big view once again, because I know it's a good idea to reset from time to time, because a lot of you may be thinking, all right, where are these storms in relationship to where I am? You're good to go if you're in Clarksville. Things are quiet for you right now. Over to Waverly, it's quiet, and into Linden, too. The storms have moved by you. If you're down around Lawrenceburg, Waynesboro, no issues for you there, or Pulaski. All this is north of you, but you can see from Columbia all the way up through Nashville, Hendersonville, all the way to Lafayette. This is where we have the stormiest of weather, and if you're in Lebanon, Smyrna, and Murfreesboro, it's going to be coming to you very soon. Still over here in Gainesboro and Cookeville and McMinnville, everything's been quiet for you, into Sparta, but these storms will be moving in your general direction as well. This is round one for us. Well, really round two if you want to count this morning's early morning storms. We are looking at another later round of storms that will be coming in as we go through the overnight. Dan?
All right, Lisa, let's get back to our friends down in Columbia. We have actually pretty good...
All right, so Dan's mic's off for just a second. We're going to get that turned back on and take a look at this one storm that Dan was talking about. This storm is tracking on towards the east and headed toward Columbia. All right, you're good to go, Dan.
All right, yeah, I'm back. Okay, I don't know if we need new batteries. This thing keeps turning itself off, but we've got Columbia. You need to be in your safe spot right now. On 31 is where a potential tornado happens to be. And this is a potential tornado where we've actually had reports of a funnel cloud from folks in Lawrence County. They were watching this in Lewis County before. So please get to your safe spot, remain calm, take your smart device, your mobile phone, watch us on the WSMV4 app. We're streaming there now, and we're very easy to get, or just crank up the television loudly, and you'll be able to hear Lisa and me talk. And so that warning ring, you can see it spinning there, is just on the west side of Columbia. Now, again, as I said a couple of times already, this is a snapshot. And so as this moves over, I think it's going to jump and jump some more and jump some more to the northeast. So it may be right over downtown Columbia as I speak. So just be hunkered down. We'll give you the all clear. There's that tornado warning still, including Santa Fe. Now, Santa Fe, I think you're in pretty good shape, but just lay low and stay safe until this passes you by. And then notice a little tight view of this all wrapped up. Spectacular look at the structure of that storm there. And I wonder what it looks like on the ground. You know, I wonder what it looks like for anybody who is out in that area. We don't recommend you go outdoors, but if you're south of this, if you're actually down in Giles County, you might even be able to see it. Giles County right now, as I'm going to zoom on out here, Giles County has nothing going on. And so you might see that whole storm being lit by the sun to the west as it moves away from Giles County up toward Murfreesboro. Hey, this is your first alert, Murfreesboro. This potentially tornado-producing storm in Columbia is headed your way. And it will head your way and be in your area just after 6:30 tonight. If it doesn't change its course, just after 6:30, maybe 6:45, Murfreesboro, this is your first alert. You don't have a warning. You do have a tornado watch, but we will, circle back and give you the update on that as we get closer. Let's check on Williamson and Davidson counties. A lot of people in Williamson and back in Hickman, but Williamson with the kids coming out of school, whatever, we're concerned about severe weather today. And the good news is we don't see it happening in Williamson County for the time being. There's a strong storm west of you, but all the rain around Franklin right now is just run of the mill. No warnings in effect except for the fact that we do have a flood advisory for Williamson until 7:45. The same goes for southern Davidson County. So again, just be at ease, at least for now. Things are looking favorable for Brentwood, for Nolensville, for Grassland, Linton, and Bellevue. That doesn't mean you won't get rain. I just don't see any near-term severe weather. It's very different for downtown Nashville and especially north of town. That's where we have the severe thunderstorm warning. It's a big severe thunderstorm warning right now. I'm going to stop the time lapse so we can get a good look at the new warning that's just come out until 6:15. And so this orange shaded zone shows much of Davidson County in this new severe thunderstorm warning. Now this possibly will throw out some big hail like the other storms before. We have a lot of purple, we have a lot of pink, and we have a little core of black coming in from the west. So you can see right on the Davidson-Cheatham County line right here, that's got to be good for at least quarter-size hail. Maybe larger, that's going to get Briley Parkway. Let's put that in motion. And Jordonia in that area, right when Briley bends and goes due east. And so if you live in that area, Ashland City Highway. I don't know that there are any houses until you get to closer to Ashland City itself, but if there are, you might be getting some hail right now. It's going to roll over 41A, Whites Creek Pike, Jolton in time. Millersville, you might have some pea-size hail now. Goodlettsville as well. And again, getting the northern half of Davidson County. Hendersonville, you'll get this. You have tremendous rain coming in. Travel is not recommended, even in the areas that don't get a lot of hail, even if you don't get a tornado warning, because of all the rain we've gotten. So flash flooding is a likelihood. More flash flooding will develop overnight, I promise you, and especially across the north, where it's just been unbelievable how much rain we've had today. Look at these. Look at how much rain has fallen from this collective storm overall. We're getting into these just ridiculous looking colors. Let me turn off some of these bells and whistles here, but look at for the storm event altogether, 6.5. That's a half foot of rain. You know, usually you're talking about 6 inches, you're talking about a big snowstorm. This is rain in just the last 36 hours. And again, there's more to come in tonight. There's more lining up in Missouri, heading down toward the mid-state, and some of that will have severe weather as well. So here's a look at all the warnings, the watches, the lightning, and how busy the radar is up and down 65. Northern Middle Tennessee, the strongest storms continue right now. In terms of tornado warnings, so we have a bunch of flash flood warnings. We have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. We have one active tornado warning, and that is for down in Murray County. And then in terms of the northern Davidson County tornado warning, it looks like it may have been canceled or dropped off. I don't see that anymore, so that may have expired at 5:30. So we're going to go with just the Murray County one right now over Columbia.
It was just issued at 5:23, so it's tornado warning northeastern Davidson, southwestern Sumner, also southeastern Robertson until 6 o'clock. So it may just not populated on there yet, but that was the latest warning they issued there. Just came out a few seconds ago.
All right. Well, it's dropped off of a second source, so
Yeah.
I wonder if it was canceled.
Could have been.
It says it right here. Yeah, canceled. Weather Service canceled the Davidson, Robertson, Sumner tornado warning.
All right. Good
So,
deal.
Yep, 5:35 that came in. So it's just Murray County. And look at that storm right over Columbia right now. You have to still be in your safe spot. 31. So right along 31, right along State Highway 6. State Route 6. So we're talking about Belair, Fairview Heights, I should say, Highland Park, Creekside. If a tornado is on the ground, it is right here, right now. Beech Grove, Rock Springs, getting close to the eastern extent of the tornado warning itself. You can see that red line. So we'll see as this gets closer to Marshall County, because then we're talking about Interstate 65. This thing from the interstate is no more than, 5-6 miles away. And so it gets to the interstate in no more than 10 minutes, probably less, and it heads to Chapel Hill in northern sections of Marshall County. Lisa?
All right, so boy, we have got so much that we've been keeping track of today. Numerous warnings that have been in effect throughout the day. And we're still continuing to see some very intense storms as they move towards the east. So, our best advice to you is if you can just stay at home till these storms pass you by. We are looking at all forms of severe weather, from damaging winds right now to hail. And as we've been telling you, the possibility of tornadoes is there. We've already had one confirmed tornado today, and we have flooding as a huge issue with these storms working on toward the east right now. And all this green is representing where we do have those flood advisories or flash flood warnings that remain in effect. The good news here, all is quiet right now from Paris through Jackson down to Savannah into Lexington. No issues there. To the south, however, you are good to go for a while. Savannah, Lawrenceburg. But here is where we do have more storms that will be working in for folks there right around the Cookeville area over to Smyrna into Murfreesboro, McMinnville. So heads up, it's just not gotten to you yet here along the Highland Rim and also right right there along the Cumberland Plateau. But there are many other areas that continue to get hammered this afternoon, and we see it right through here as we've got Columbia in the thick of that storm right now, with it moving on towards the east. And you know it is tough going there along I-65 right now. That tornado warning in effect, and you know, you just wonder if folks that are along the interstate are even aware of that storm and certainly the danger of the storm with that potential tornado right there with that storm. If you do have a loved one you know is out on the interstate, you might want to let them know so they can get to some type of sturdy business. But if that's you that is in the path of this tornado, please make sure you're in your safe spot. We've been talking about it coming through Columbia, and you can see it is there now and continuing to move toward the northeast. So if you're in the eastern part of Maury County, you need to be in your safe spot right now, and that's taking precautions to head to the lowest level of your home, putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. A bathroom or a closet is going to be a great place to go. These are not storms where you want to take the time to go out and look to see if you see a funnel, because chances are you're not going to be able to see it. We'd rather you spend that time getting in that safe spot, protecting your head from any flying debris that may be generated from that tornado as they act as vacuums and just suck all this stuff up, from bricks, 2x4s, to anything that is laying out in the yard, and all that goes out of that tornado is flying debris. Also, you can use pillows, blankets, and also even a helmet can be a good protector for you. And of course, we would recommend at all you being in a car or a mobile home with these storms coming on through. So just keep that in mind as these storms are moving towards the northeast. And then we look a little farther to the north right now, and wow, I mean, this just catches your eye up here. This complex of storms, a lot of very heavy rain and also lightning with this storm as it's moving towards the northeast. I see we've got a one of our driving cars out in some of that heavier rain right now. Not sure exactly where they are. All right, so they're going southbound, headed towards Columbia, where there is a potential tornado there. We're looking off north of Nashville here, Whites Creek, Goodlettsville. That's where some of the heaviest rain is falling right now. We see it here stretched through these areas. Look at that black in there. That's where we could be seeing some larger size hail. And boy, we ever had a lot of large size hail today, up to near golf ball size as we've gone throughout the day. Here's some estimates of some of the hail that we're looking at right now. We're talking an inch, quarter-size hail, which that's the threshold for a severe thunderstorm. And then a little farther down to the south, I'm seeing 2 inches there. That is hen egg size hail. So that too is very large size hail that if it falls, it's going to do some damage. That's why we advise you, if you're in the storm right now, but if you're out ahead of the storm, you might want to pull that car into the garage or certainly into some kind of covered parking that can keep your car safe from all of this hail that could be falling in many of these storms, and we've had history of it producing that hail today. We're looking at our First Alert Live radar, the only live radar here in Middle Tennessee, so we can give you a view that is about 5 minutes faster or more up to date than other folks, and that is giving us an excellent view of this tornado warning that we're seeing right here in effect until 6:15. So very important. Let's use that tool for you, show you exactly where that storm is right now. And you can see our warning ring is popped up here. So it is just right there to the east of Columbia and moving towards the east. So if you're in Columbia, please stay in your safe spot right now. And we've got some of the areas that are just north of Columbia, right there, Lanton. And it's about to go across 431. Eagleville, Chapel Hill, heads up. The storm is headed to you, also in College Grove. Now we're diving down so we can show you a little better view of where this is. And that's right there, right along, we've jumped a little bit there. Okay, around 412 and also around Bear Creek, Pike, Match, Rock Springs are some of the other communities. You can see Rock Springs Road, Cliff White Road. If that's you, if you're around Beech Grove, that is where we are seeing that tornado right now as it moves towards the east. Another one of those roads close by is going to be the Tom Sharp Road, I believe, and US 412 for sure. Their Highway 412. It's going to be moving there in the next few minutes or so. Dan?
Hey, Lisa, I'll send it right back to you in a moment, but just an update, some maybe ground truth reports of what's happening down in Columbia on the east side right now. With the Tennessee Weather Valley Authority Authority, Ben Luna, who has allowed us to use his cameras for years. He said he's got a camera in Columbia that showed power flashes, and then according to somebody who works with the Signal Mountain Fire Department, he said appeared to be, from what he could tell, a tornado on the ground on the Columbia Fire Station 3 camera before the camera went dead. And so that's all we know. We don't know if there was a tornado, but we've got two people giving us different pieces of information that may support a tornado eventually. Lisa?
Okay, Dan, this is all coming to us really quickly here. National Weather Service is now confirming this is a tornado. Dan, let's switch over and see if we can see it on the debris detector, because we may be able to identify some debris from this. And there you go. I mean, we're looking for a color that's different than another color. So we have confirmed a tornado right now that is on the ground here, just off to the north, Beech Grove. It was spotted coming through Columbia, and now is moving on towards the northeast. So we've been warning you about this storm, and now we do have confirmation that indeed we have a tornado on the ground in Columbia. Right here is that what we call debris detector. That's what's happening with this storm. It is circulating, it's lifting up debris, and when it lofts it up in the air like that, we can get that detection. So that's another confirmation of what we're seeing on our radar with our rotation detector, that we may have indeed a tornado on the ground here, and the National Weather Service has confirmed that as well. It's headed towards the Match community right now. There is Lanton, and there was a smaller community named Mesa, I believe, and that's going to be headed over across 431. If you are out ahead of this, if you are in Eagleville, if you're in Chapel Hill, if you're in College Grove, we want to make sure that you know that this storm is headed in your general direction as it moves off towards the east right now. And certainly anybody that's going to be traveling on the highway here, the storm is going to be headed in your general direction. So this is a confirmed tornado warning that we have now that includes portions of Murray County as the storm is moving towards the east, coming out of Columbia. So let's dive down one more time, Dan, and give folks another view of what we're seeing happening there. And Dan was highlighting Interstate 65, by the way, because, obviously you got a lot of folks home or headed home on that interstate. There's Beech Grove. That's likely where we're seeing this tornado right now. And Lysaea is the community that I was talking about. There's 412, Blackburn Lane. Those are some of the roads that we're looking at. And also we're seeing Rock Springs Road on there, and John Sharp Road, Center Star Road. All of those are roads that are right there in that area where we likely are seeing a tornado on the ground. And just please stay in your safe place. If you are here, if you have not gotten in your safe place, please do so, as we're looking for that storm to be moving off to the east right now, crossing the interstate and crossing 412 within just the next few minutes. All this is moving towards the east right now. So you can expect to see some heavy downpours, and you're probably going to hear that wind really howling as this is getting a lot closer to you now. Is this our driving live shot that is down in that area? Okay, so this is our folks there driving in Murray County and hopefully getting direction to stay away from this particular storm, as it has the likelihood that we've got confirmed that we've got that tornado right there near the Columbia area, all moving off towards the northeast right now. Dan?
Hey, Lisa, I got to show you. We'll check on Davidson County to not neglect Davidson, because we've got a lot of stuff going on there, and at Robertson as well. But then we're coming right back to this, because I think Williamson County may be hit by this tornado in time. Cottontown, Gallatin, Millersville, all could have hail, all could have damaging wind gusts. Northern Davidson County still coming through Jolton. We don't have tornado warnings for you right now, but we've got to head back south, because possibly College Grove or near College Grove could get into this in time. We want to show you what's going on here. So we have a debris ball. What I'm going to do is turn off the rotation detector, the rotation ring. And so we talk about storm structure, and this is a clearly well-defined supercell storm. And then we come back out like this. There's some sort of a jet stream in the middle there, updraft core that has to go around, so there's less going on here. This is the tornado. This is what we call the debris ball, where the pink, where you have that little hook, is showing stuff lofted in the air. So it's probably, again, this is just a snapshot. It's probably over the interstate right now. We don't know if it's still in progress, but watch. I'm going to put it in 30 minutes worth of time lapse, and we'll see where this goes and where it's coming from. This is where it is right now, and then we back it up 30 minutes and follow that with me as we go back in time. And it was on this part of the south side of Columbia. So if we connect the dots, put it in motion, moving forward, that's going to take it up into southeast Williamson. That's going to split potentially College Grove in Eagleville if this can hold together. And it's even possible it hooks over College Grove. So this is your first alert, College Grove. Your first heads up, College Grove, that this is headed in your general direction. And so let's do a track moving northeast at about 30, maybe 35, and take it up in your area and give you the timing. It's going to cross the interstate, clip Marshall County. We see College Grove maybe 617. Time now 5:50. Eagleville 617. Eagleville High School in your area at 618. So again, we'll see what happens with this. It looks like it's trying to get wrapped up in rain. Watch the last 15 minutes, and before we had a debris ball that was all isolated by itself, and now it's being folded into the circulation. I'm going to show you this. So here's the debris ball right here. What this means is you can't see it anymore. Some people probably saw this thing east of Columbia, and now it's going away. It's still there, but you can't see it because rain is folding in on the front side of it. And so now this will be a rain-wrapped tornado headed toward the interstate or over the interstate right now and headed to southeast Williamson County. There's another storm behind it that we'll have to watch. There's a little hook going on there as well. So unbelievable what's happened today, what's happening now this evening, and what's still to come later on tonight. More storms will move on through. A very powerful storm, but right now, at least no warning for it on the southwest side of Williamson County, and so headed toward maybe grassland in time. We'll have to watch that for maybe some hail. And then again, up into Davidson County, Robertson, Sumner, the rain continues to fall. We just had the anniversary of the flood of May of 2010. This will be nothing like that, but in some areas, there'll be visions of it, because if you get a half foot of rain, when this is all said and done, in a 48-hour period, some areas may get close to 10 inches. It's just going to make for some big problems in local communities, because the whole area is not getting the flooding like we had on May 10th. But that is just tremendous rain, and there's more to come tonight. Look at the rain that just continues to come down. Look at how much rain that has fallen so far between Cross Plains and Cottontown. 6 inches of rain, 6.6. And so coming up on 7 for some of those areas in northwest parts of Robertson County too. So big complex of storms. In time that'll settle down. Just some areas of rain back toward Clarksville, northwest Dixon County. And then we have this confirmed tornado warning down on the east side of Columbia. East side of Murray County, moving to Marshall and moving to Williamson County. You can see still that debris ball about to cross the interstate. There goes our live sweep. First Alert Live Radar tracking the tornado in progress in Murray County. Just went by. There's the debris ball, and then there it is. College Grove getting into some very heavy downpours now. Again, Eagleville too. And so the next area we cross is 431. But again, the last few frames are showing more of a northward movement, northeast as opposed to east-northeast. And so we're going to have to be ready for this in Williamson County. Williamson County, all the way to Thompson Station, you are in this tornado warning. The Weather Service did a great job extending this all the way up to Arrington. So what a well-drawn polygon here, because they're seeing what we're seeing, and this is not just moving almost due east-northeast. It's doing one of these and eventually crosses 41 and eventually gets into Rutherford County. And like we told you 15 minutes ago when we said, hey, Rutherford County, Murfreesboro, this is your first alert. This may come pay a visit to you around 6:45. That still holds true. That still holds true, and it's something we'll have to watch. We saw what happened earlier today east of Clarksville. That tornado, or that storm, produced a tornado into Robertson County on the west side of Springfield, possibly even after that. But it continued to trigger or prompt tornado warnings for a while to come. This thing could go into Murfreesboro or even beyond, Lisa.
Yeah, and Dan, just to reiterate the danger of this storm, a tornado emergency warning, an emergency tornado warning is now in effect. And basically what that means, if there is a damage threat that could be catastrophic with this storm, with hail for Marshall, Murray, Rutherford, and Williamson. So a tornado damage threat, a tornado emergency has been issued with this warning. So we're talking about a serious situation here with our storm as it moves off towards the northeast. This is probably the most powerful one that we have seen so far today. And last time we had one of these, well, it's been a while. So we'll maybe do some record hunting to see when that was, but it has been a while. So we want to make sure that you're watching out here. We can look down here and find that well-defined view of where we've got some circulation with this storm. So we've got our reds and our greens close together. That means this storm is rotating, and we have already had confirmation with people seeing this tornado, and certainly with the confirmation from the National Weather Service too, as we are looking at some very high winds associated with the storm and that rotation as well, moving off towards the northeast. So an emergency tornado warning is now in effect with this storm. So please, it even just ramps up what we're trying to tell you. If you're over off to the east and northeast around Eagleville, up around College Grove, please go on and make sure you are in your safe place. And that means you're going to head to your basement if you've got one, or your storm shelter. If not, make sure that you're down in the lowest level of your home, putting walls between you, as many as you can. So you're going to get in the center of the house. A closet's a great place to be. And the idea here is these storms act like funnels. They're going to suck things up inside of them, but they're not like your vacuum cleaner. Even though they're acting like a vacuum, they're going to throw that stuff out. And that's how people get harmed, is through flying debris. That's why we invite you to take pillows, blankets, and a helmet in there to help protect you. And if you've got a neighbor that lives in a mobile home, invite them to come to your sturdier structure. We just want them to be protected as well, because a mobile home is not a good place to be during a tornado. What we're also looking at, and Dan pointed this out a second ago, we don't want anybody out trying to look at that funnel cloud. Let me see it, let me see it. You're not going to be able to see it. It's rain wrapped in here, as oftentimes happens here in Middle Tennessee. So you just can't see it very well because of all the rain surrounding it. So please heed this warning and head to your safe spot right now as this storm is moving towards the northeast and making its way towards the College Grove area within the next little while. Just please be extra careful with this storm. So we know we've got this happening here. Can we pull out just a little bit, get a little better perspective, a little bigger perspective, I should say, of where this storm is, and let people know in relationship to maybe where they are. All right, you see where Columbia is? Now maybe give you a little better idea of where it's located. We've got Franklin right up here. We've got Cool Springs off to the north. So this is just south of there, and it's coming out of Murray County and headed into Williamson County right now. So these are the areas that are most vulnerable with this storm moving through. Now there's another storm off to the north. Don't see a warning on this one right now. Very electrical storm. And then even farther northward, let's scoot on up into Nashville. So folks here in the Nashville area can see we have quite the storm here too. There is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for you. A lot of lightning is occurring right now. All this moving up towards the northeast, and that is affecting people in Madison and Hendersonville. I just was getting a text from my son, who is over in Hendersonville right now, and he's hunkered down. He got out of his car and went into a restaurant there, and that's what you need to do if you're in this type of situation. Pull over and get to a more secure location like that. That's all moving towards the northeast. All right, so be extra careful there. We're looking over at Columbia now. This is new video, and this is the cell that we've been watching, and this is that confirmed tornado that we are seeing around Columbia that happened in Murray County. We still remain under a tornado emergency in Murray County and now parts of Williamson County, as well as Rutherford. as the storm moves on towards the northeast right now. And with this, it's moving to the northeast about 25 miles per hour. That's our driving live shot down in that general area. So we just advise anybody to take cover now if you're in that general area. Just looking to see if there are any more nuggets that I can pass along to you that I'm finding out as we're staying in touch with folks, our colleagues out at the Weather Service. This warning is in effect until 6:15. And here you can see some of the winds as we're looking at that rotation that's taking place with this storm. That would be the most likely spot for that tornado right now, which is going to be right there, not too far from Joe Sharp Road, and also around, let's see, we've got Bear Creek Pike in there, and Barker Road is not one of the other ones. Lysaea is just off to the east of you there, or north really, and headed toward the Raleigh Hill community too. So if those are, ring a bell with you, if that's where you live, you're close to that, make sure you are hunkered down in that safe spot. That's the best place for you to be right now as this tornado is moving towards the east. It is on the ground and moving east-northeast right now. Wrapped in rain, it's going to be hard to see, so please don't take the time to look for it. You can see that video that is there showing you what we saw there as well. And that was, are you telling me where that video is? Bear Creek. Okay, Bear Creek is where that footage was taken. And so that was just a little bit ago when we had the storm move through that area, and now it's scooted on to the east just a little bit. And Dan is highlighting with this circle where that storm is right now, where that tornado is right now under this tornado emergency. And we're doing a little distance check for you, and it is about almost 13 miles to College Grove. So if you're in College Grove, you've still got time. You've got a few minutes more before this moves into your area to make sure that you're in your safest spot right now. So hopefully you'll take that time to do just that. I know if you watch me and Dan, we try to be the calm in the storm and tell you what to do. And so we're not trying to scare anybody. We just want you to take this storm seriously and make sure you're in the safest place that you can be in your home, which is going to be that basement, that storm shelter, or the lowest level of your home. And here's another view of that storm as it's progressing on towards the northeast. John Lee Johnson Road. It's located there right now, very close to Lee's Corner, and will be headed around Reynolds Road very, very shortly. That is our driving live shot that you're seeing there in the corner of the screen, where we are in Murray County right now. A lot of rain is coming down. It is tough traveling there. We want anybody who is in the county to make sure they're staying in their, inside the house. But if you're in this tornado warned area, we want to make sure that you are definitely staying in your safe spot right now. It's just too dangerous to be out and about anywhere here with these storms that have developed. This again is a tornado emergency. We don't have these issued very often, but when they do, we want to make sure that we're heeding that warning, because that means we have had a confirmed tornado and destruction, certainly destructive damage is certainly the possibility here. The storm moving to the northeast, and here is a look. Eagleville should be to you at 6:22. The high school at 6:22. College Grove right around 6:22. And Triune, 6:29 is our estimated arrival time as the storm continues on this path and at this rate of speed. So just heed that warning, please, and make sure that you're in that safe spot. Just to show you a little bit bigger view here, once again, I know we've got folks watching from all over, so let's get maybe a wider expansion here, Dan, just quickly to show folks where the storms are right now. We're just saying you're good to go now from Clarksville, Waverly, over to Linden West, down to Lawrenceburg. No problems here. In Manchester, it looks like the storms will stay north of you for the most part, but if you're over here in McMinnville and also in the Cookeville area, you've got more to come. And these are kind of our clusters of what we've been tracking as big supercells, and now they're more clustered together, as you can see here, with numerous warnings out ahead of these storms and a trail of flood advisories and flash flood warnings because of the heavy amounts of rain. Dan was estimating just a few minutes ago with our radar that we had some 6 inches of rain plus in some locations. Here's this one storm that's going to be continuing to move on towards the east. This will be out of our area before too much longer in southern Kentucky. And then this next one will eventually be paying you a visit over in the Jamestown area. But right now, Salina, Gainesboro, you are the closest in line. And there is a portion of this where there is a tornado warning in effect. And this is until 6:30. This does include folks in Hartsville, in Castilian Springs. It does include you if you are in Gallatin right now. You are under a tornado warning. Now, we're not seeing any rotation on this particular view right here, but still we want to heed this warning. And if you're in Gallatin and if you're in Castilian Springs, make sure that you head to your safe spot. Same goes for you if you're in the Hartsville area as well. And Beth Page, all included in that tornado warning right now with this storm moving towards the east. And Dan's identifying another little spot where we can at least see a little more definition. It was hard from that smaller view, but this is LaGuardo, right north of there, and looks like right along the river where we could be seeing that tornado, potential tornado anyway, and that's going to be moving towards the northeast for folks there in the Hartsville area. And yeah, I can see it right in through here. So not a big area, but that's certainly where we could be seeing that storm rotating, or where we are seeing the storm rotating. It could be a tornado as it moves on towards the northeast right now. So we'll keep a close eye on this for you. We just wanted you to make sure you're responding to that warning if you're in places like Gallatin and over into Hunters Point, that community, Hartsville, LaGuardo, any of those locations. That's where this storm is going to be moving and traveling on towards this was taking more of a southeast drift, isn't it, Dan, than the others have?
Yeah, these northern ones are moving almost due east, and that one down south is moving northeast. So
and that's
there's that track for you.
Trousdale, Macon, Wilson, and Sumner counties that are included in that warning, parts of those counties.
Yep. Okay. Hunters Point, 614. Hartsville, 626. So going to Trousdale. So just to stay in your safe spot. Very heavy rain, and look at still some embedded hail. Dime, nickel, maybe quarter size. Englewood, Hermitage, Hendersonville, south of you, and LaGuardo. So north side of Mount Juliet, Hunters Point. North side of Hermitage, Old Hickory. Probably some fair size hail peppered in with the rain. Heavy downpours along Briley Parkway, so around Englewood. I'd be shocked if you don't have some hail in progress right now. Just south of Madison, around Montauk, Haysboro, Lakewood, so over toward the lake. And then we look at much of Davidson County right now. Things look pretty good as First Alert Live radar sweeps on by. So downtown, we have the flooding threat. We got to be careful of that. Into Williamson County, we have pretty strong cell. So this getting over the radar right now, Nolensville, Leapers Fork, lightning. There could be some hail around Fieldstone Farm starting to work in. Berry's Chapel, south of Grassland. That's going to move toward Cool Springs. It doesn't look like it would be huge, but there could be some pea-size hail, maybe some dime-size hail included with that. There's Leapers Fork. And then we get to the big problem, and that's down here. So essentially what we're seeing is now the circulation. We saw the circulation on the radar across Interstate 65 a short time ago. And so if we have crews, I'm sure we have crews headed that way. You can see, I'm going to back it up here. Right to there. That brown line is Interstate 65 at 5:53. So 15 minutes ago, you see how we have the red and the green combined there. It looked like it might have been even strong as it crossed the interstate, that brown line right in the middle of your screen. And now we're watching the rotation move toward John Lee Johnson Road, Rally Hill. And something good to see is that gate-to-gate shear. We told you about the green and the red immediately touching, as you see in the middle of the TV screen. I'm going to circle this and zoom in a little bit.
And Dan, that's about to cross 431 there, right? What you're seeing there?
Well, I'm going backwards in time a little bit. Okay, I'm going backwards in time, but here we go, and you could see probably right over 431.
Yeah, right now.
So Rally Hill, lively, but that gate-to-gate shear, as we talk about, doesn't look as strong. Now, where's our nearest crew? Where's our nearest crew to this part of the area that we've been focused on for a while? I'm just curious if we're getting close. You can see the hook, so you could see the inflow notch for the storm. right there. So I'm going to clear this circle, and you can see where the warm, humid air from the south is being sucked up into the updraft and being sent that way toward the storm motion. And the storm motion still going to take this up toward College Grove. And so distance from a potential tornado still in progress. We still have that tornado emergency to College Grove, 10 miles. Distance to Eagleville, because Eagleville easily could be hit, is 8 miles. You know, like I said an hour ago, the Smithville tornado the other day went northeast, then due east, then southeast. So this is why we have tornado warnings that are so large to include this whole area, because these things like to get their own little mind, and they like to zig and zag, and sometimes they change their move at the last minute. So I would expect it to go up in somewhere in this area, and if you extrapolate that right down the middle, it takes it in time toward the north side of Murfreesboro. So again, tornado emergency remains in effect until 6:15, current time 6:09, and that is for northern Marshall, northeast Murray, and then southeast or south central most Williamson County for 6 more minutes.
And Dan, just to add to that, we're getting reports from the Murray County EMA that several properties there have been damaged. And the EMA is also indicating that there are some people who are trapped in some of those structures right now. And the Murray Fire is responding to those areas. Also, they have confirmed that several people have been injured with this tornado that is coming through Murray County right now. So that's the latest from the EMA there. So just a very serious situation with this storm moving through to the northeast right now. We're also getting reports that a number of people are without power. And could I get that number one more time of folks that are out without power here? I believe it was 5,000 people. About 5,000 folks who are without power here. And then, of course, we've got those structures that were damaged, homes that were damaged, and people are trapped in those. So we'll keep updating you as we get more information about that. And we find that notch that Dan is pointing out. This is that storm moving towards the northeast right now. This is College Grove. This is Eagleville. We've been calling your city names, your town names for a while now, just advising you that here comes this tornado. So please heed those calls and make sure that you're in your safe spot right now as this storm is bearing down on you at this point. It'll be there within minutes as we've tracked this tornado coming all the way from near Columbia, and now it's headed in your general direction at this point. So we're talking about winds that, you know, are strong enough to cause some damage, and certainly we're seeing a lot of lightning with this. A lot of hail has been reported with some of these storms, and this particular storm does have a history of producing a tornado. So we want to make sure that you are taking those precautions and headed to your safe spot right now, as we do have a confirmed tornado here, and we've been under a tornado emergency with this storm moving toward the northeast at 6:45 right now, as we continue to watch. I know we've got several other warnings that continue to come out across the area, and we want to keep you advised of what's going on with them as well. But before we leave this, let's go deep down a little closer here to show folks exactly where this storm is located and give you some roads so you can get a better vantage point here. It's going to be moving across Highway 31 very, very soon. Mount Vernon Road is another location there, and we're also picking up Thick Road and Sweeney Lane. Those are all roads where that's going to be moving through, and of course it's right now in the Bear Wallow community. So if you're in those locations, if you're right there along 31, that tornado is going to be coming over your area very, very soon. So if this is you here in some of the communities I just mentioned, and there is Highway 31 right there, our tornado is right here, and that's going to be moving across very, very shortly. Dan is pointing out our rotation detector here, and that's just showing us that circulation as it continues to move along the ground here. And this is a confirmed tornado already producing damage, and also damage to homes, trapping people in homes, and also some injuries reported with that. And we've got video, and this is from Columbia, where folks are watching that wall cloud drop down. The wall cloud is when you see a lowering underneath that thunderstorm cloud, and it's dropping down here. We'll have to watch it to see what else we see showing up here. But definitely, if you're traveling on the roads and you see that, that's pretty scary stuff. This is where that storm is, but we've got so much more going on, too. We have another tornado warning that's even farther off to the north, and Nashville getting a little bit of a break right now with just some lighter rain in downtown Nashville. However, there's some much stormier weather off to the northeast. And just to let you know, over in Ashland City, Pleasant View, we're watching you as well. You've got flash flood warnings and advisories still in effect here for so much water, and that's the case across many of these locations. No warning in effect for you right now in Nashville. Over to Mount Juliet, you can see you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, and that also includes parts of Hunters Point, that area, and Bellwood. And this has been a really strong storm that has held together quite a while. And we still have that tornado warning for a part of this area, and that will stay in effect for just a little while longer, I believe 6:30, for about 15 more minutes or so. And it's hard to see. I know it's really hard to see.
Right
it's hard
here.
for me to see exactly where it is, but that's going to continue to move towards the northeast right now. You usually can see the red shading, but we've got so many things and so many colors going on right now with these storms, it's hard to even pick them out. But this is the one we were talking about a few minutes ago. Instead of going more northeastward like a lot of these storms has been going, this is more due east right now, or a little south of east. And you can see it will be coming close to you in Carthage and also around the Gainesboro area as it continues to move toward the east right now. Extending back from that, we are also looking at Brentwood and Franklin with some heavy rain coming down for you right now. And then we head back into parts of Williamson County here, where we're looking at, once again, that tornado that we've been tracking for a while now, and that is sitting right down here as it made its way through Columbia. It did produce a tornado, and now it's headed towards College Grove and also into Eagleville. So those areas, make sure that you're in that safe spot at this point. This has been your early warning, and now that storm is really bearing down on you. Dan?
All right, Lisa, so it looks like it's right over Franklin Road, or Highway 31 right now, Holtland, moving toward Greenland. And so if we look at where Eagleville is in College Grove, it's starting to look like Eagleville's storm more than College Grove. And so I want to track this area of rotation. It's right here. And we'll give you an updated time in a minute. We'll back this up slowly but surely, because this is what we care most about, where that little cluster of rotation is gone. And so it was back here at Columbia. For a little bit, it looked like it was moving almost due northeast, and it did. But then look at where it is now. So Eagleville, or maybe on the south side of Eagleville, this might miss College Grove entirely for the, I know you've gotten some hail there. I know you've gotten ridiculous rain, and it's a huge storm. But the circulation itself looks like it may cross 41 way south of you. So distance from College Grove to Eagleville, 3 miles. It's not very far. You're still going to be in your safe spot. But I'm just trying to give you the most accurate look at where this thing is going to go. And so here's the debris ball that still exists. It could be new debris. It could be old debris. We don't know. But it's definite debris. And then so we'll track the debris ball as well, because that's apparent. And it looks like, you know, it may be east-northeast. If we get lucky, it's going to miss Eagleville. And so that's obviously what we're hoping for. And then we'll see what's upstream of there. If it just misses Eagleville, it could become a south part of Murfreesboro storm as opposed to the north side, the way it looked a while ago. This is the reason we look at these things so far out, so we can give you the maximum heads up. Everybody in Murfreesboro, you're not in the tornado warning, but you may be in time if this thing can hold on. So tornado emergency continues. It's an extraordinarily electrical storm. And so right now it is just to the east of Highway 31, and it is closing in on the south side of Eagleville, eventually to get over eastbound, over toward 231, and eventually Interstate 24. So the history, we can see that there have been reports of people who are without power. We have reports of structures that are damaged in Columbia. We also have reports of essentially homes being hit by debris that's caused damage and again, just lock some people in. We have 65 at 8:40. And so what we'll do is, this is a little bit farther to the north. 65 at 8:40 looks like it's just on the northwest side of this thing, but it's a pretty close shot right there. So there's the parent storm, and obviously, people are taking their time heading south because they don't want to go right into this thing, and the visibility looks like it's a lot worse farther to the south. Mile marker 57.4, and so Spring Hill, you're good. Thompson Station, you don't need to hunker down because this storm is beyond you. Will it get to Ladd Park? No, I don't think so. It's raining in Ladd Park in the southern parts of Williamson County, around Cool Springs, just south of you. But I think you're good. I think Arrington will be missed by this as well. And so it looks like it's trying to do more of a east-northeast than a due northeast type of thing. So let's get a brand new storm track of where this most dangerous part of the storm is, and it's again right along or just east of 31. So I'm going to zoom out just a hair and give you that track right now. So we take it to the east northeast at about 30, maybe 35. Let's do 30. Takes it to Newtown at 6:36. Now that part of Rutherford County, away from the communities, it's pretty rural. We'll see how close to Newtown it gets. East of you, we have Christiana, so we'll have to watch you carefully because there's a bunch of people who live there, and so. But it looks like for the time being, it's going to get the south side of Eagleville as opposed to Eagleville itself. Brand new picture, and I'll encircle where this is. Right now, this is the tornado in progress. If it's still in progress, it's right around there. And so south side of Eagleville, a lot of hail in College Grove. College Grove, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, I've lost track, but they had golf ball size hail then. And so if you live in College Grove and you were so grateful because you weren't home when that golf ball size hail hit, but now you're home and your car's outside, it may not be the same result. You may have gotten it this time. Pretty significant looking hail there. We'll see how large it is, maybe quarter size. Just south of you is that potential tornado. Let's check on the velocities once again, and it looks like it's right around on the south side of Eagleville. We've got to be real careful with this thing, inbounds and outbounds, south side of Eagleville, and so that's what we're watching right there. Rest of the mid-state, we just take a top-down view. Wow, look at all those severe reports. The H's, the W's, which are blue, and the T's are tornado reports. There's been so many today. I wish I could count them up, but probably in the last 24 hours, 80 or 90. And we have some video to share this. Okay, so this is Pleasant View earlier. And so this looked like at the onset of the video, we saw some sort of ropey tornado in the distance. We'll see when this re-racks, because I'm sure we'll see that view again. And it looks to me like there goes the window, and then there goes. So they lowered the window. There's a lowering, a definite wall cloud.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's tough to see if that's a.
That does look like a tornado.
Yeah, and so from Pleasant View earlier today, that video just coming to us. Good stuff there. So a lot of storms out here, a lot of warnings. We're going to keep the flash flood warnings for quite some time to come. A lot of the activity is along, surrounding, and now east of I-65, and it's going to continue to roll toward the eastern Highland Rim and the Cumberland Plateau. So we're getting ready for it in Murfreesboro. This is 24 at Salem Pike. So mile marker 79.8. So that should be the south side of Murfreesboro, if I remember right. That's probably just south of 840. It's probably south of Highway 96. If I'm remembering right.
Looks like that camera's frozen a little bit. I don't think they're parked out there.
Got it. Good point. Good point. Now, where do we have this live camera? Here, near Columbia. And so, we have a crew down there, obviously, and I fully expect it to be bumper to bumper as they get closer to the path of the tornado, just because essentially, there's people who have had their lives rocked by this thing, and there's the emergency folks setting up blocked off roads and just barricades that people can't navigate around, and so it could be a slow go before we have live footage in the damage itself. But we're down in Columbia right now. We're going to get that to you as soon as we can. All right, so looking at the rotation again, College Grove, Eagleville, it might be this right here. It's less defined. Before we had that really tight circulation. This looks a little more broad, like maybe we're scanning right into the heart of the storm, a couple thousand feet off the ground. This picture here, Columbia. Okay, so you can see a massive rain curtain on the left side. That's spectacular there. You can see the storm structure. We've referenced that a couple of times today at the base of the storm. So that lowering is a wall cloud. And then right by that rain curtain, as you get closer to the rain curtain, it doesn't look to me like a funnel, but there's some sort of curve to that, and it makes you wonder if that was rotating, and that eventually is where the tornado was.
And Dan, we say it all the time that, sometimes you can't see them when you've got that rain like that. It's really hard to see where the actual funnel is or the tornado is because they're wrapped in rain.
Right. And so we're focused on Eagleville. We're focused on College Grove. It is in your area now. It's probably closer to Eagleville than College Grove, but stay in your safe spots until we let you know that the all clear is given. And we'll do that once the storm is clearly east of you, but it's not that way right now. So hail's falling, rain's happening in College Grove in all likelihood. Eagleville, again, if this thing is rain wrapped and still ongoing, it could be anywhere in through here on the south side of Eagleville, getting closer to the county line, getting closer to 231. So 231 is on the eastern side of the county, and then you get into Rutherford County. In fact, it's right here, so it's along the county line. Pardon me. So here's the county line itself with Williamson and Rutherford, and then I'm going to encircle Rutherford County here. And so the storm is now it's starting to lean into Rutherford County from the west. Certainly have the all clear Columbia. Certainly have the all clear just east of Columbia in Murray County, so surrounding I-65, you're good to go in Rock Springs, Hardison Mill, Lycia, Lanton, all fine now. And it's in northern Marshall County. I wouldn't come out quite yet. I mean, this lower part of the storm looks a little ominous. Let's look for rotation there. I don't see a whole lot, but let's wait a little longer. So on the north side of Chapel Hill in Marshall County, I would stay hunkered down for a little bit longer. I think it's safe to say, Lisa, that the storm structure doesn't look like it did before. And so it may be cycling downward, which is good. Because you could clearly see well-defined where the hook was, right, where the debris ball was, and then we go forward another 15 minutes, and it may be right here. It may be in northernmost Marshall County, just north of Chapel Hill, and that's why we just, we're not going to give Marshall County the all clear. Right down there, not far from Christiana, Lisa. So there's Christiana, it just was on the map. See that? And so if a tornado is still in progress, it looks like it's going to move toward Christiana.
And it's possible it could have lifted up, but we can reiterate that these can spin back up pretty quickly and intensify again. So the tornado warning is going to actually remain in effect right now, and that's going to include folks who are in Marshall County, still under that warning right now, Bedford County, and also included in that is going to be Rutherford and Williamson. Murray, of course, is out of the warning now. The threat has passed by you, but this storm will move to the northeast, and head to Newtown at 6:32 and Christiana at 6:40. So that's our estimated arrival times for that storm moving into your area. A lot of lightning out here. This is such a dangerous storm. Please make sure you're just staying inside. If you're over here off to the east, places like Woodbury, just wait until the storm passes before you venture out. It could certainly regenerate itself, and right now still that tornado warning, but things could even get more dangerous as we go through the next couple of hours. And then we go a little bit farther off to the north here, and we are looking at just more of the same when it comes to heavy downpours and a lot of lightning. That's over here into Lebanon and also around the Bellwood area. And then continuing to Carthage and Gordonsville, heads up for you. There is a tornado warning for a section of this area that we see right through here, still in effect. And I know that that's going to include folks who are in that Hunters Point area, crossing right there at Highway 70. If you're in Bellwood, if you're in Carthage, you are also in that warning area too, as this storm is moving off towards the northeast. And that warning continues until 7 o'clock for tonight. So just make sure you're hunkered down here and getting into your safe spot in those locations. So, you know, I know there's so many folks who haven't been here for a long time, just not used to this tornado weather. Make sure that you are in your safe place that's putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Your basement's a great place. If you don't, just park it there on that first floor in an interior room, a bathroom or a closet. We're looking at what we call our rotation detector, where we look for winds that are kind of pointing to some rotation, where they're blowing toward and away from the radar site in a smaller area. And that would be the most likely place that we would see a tornado if one has formed here and where that thunderstorm is actually rotating. And we also can show another version of that, which whenever we see the reds in here, in this rotation detector, that is also kind of showing an enhanced rotation taking place in that storm too. So several different things we can look at just to give you that warning, to let you know that we could be seeing some rotation right around places like Bellwood and headed your direction if you're in Carthage, and just off to the southwest there of Dixon Springs. And we're highlighting where that could be rotating right now. You see a couple of little notches there where the winds are blowing in, and that is where those tornadoes typically form. You can see it right there. And also it just kind of goes along with that rotation find where we had that red showing up through there. There's a look at that live radar, and it's all moving towards the east-northeast right now. So we'll watch this as it moves closer and closer to folks that are over in the Carthage area, and points off to the east like Granville and Haydenburg, and eventually moving right on out of our viewing area. So some good news there. We start to see this first wave make its way. As a matter of fact, we did have a new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued a little farther to the north for some communities that really haven't been in the thick of it as of late. And there's so many warnings to keep up with. I want to make sure I'm giving you the latest on that as those storms continue to move on towards the northeast. And it's folks over here in DeKalb County, Jackson, Putnam, Smith, Trousdale, and a portion of Wilson County are under a severe thunderstorm warning for that potent storm that is moving there off towards the east right now. So that will be in effect for you until 7 o'clock tonight. And that too includes places like Carthage and Gainesboro. And you can see just off to the west of Cookeville is this highlighted area. And of course, that is this storm as it's going to be moving into that area. Look at all that lightning too. So very, very dangerous. And anytime we see that much lightning, we know this is a very intense storm. So it's just another indicator of the strength of some of these storms that have developed today. That plus all this hail that we have seen with the storms as well. The picture is improving here, definitely, but we still got some flooding issues off to the west, and we still have some really intense storms that we're watching, like the one here. Our tornado warning continues, and this one is moving towards the northeast. This is the same storm, by the way, that dropped that tornado there in Columbia and continues to move eastward. A confirmed tornado a little earlier with that, and the warning has been extended till 6:45. That's about 15 more minutes for this area, but we're still seeing some possible rotation that's taking place. Just may not be as specific as what we had a little earlier. There was some of that video, that tornado that we had confirmed there in Columbia. My goodness. And just to reiterate what we learned from the EMA a little while ago, that there are several injuries in response to this tornado. There were structures where people were trapped, and emergency workers were out working to free some of those folks and check on folks because of the damage that we saw from this tornado that was moving through Murray County and specifically there in Columbia. And we were tracking that as it moved through that area. So the storm we're looking at right now is part of the same parent storm that has moved to the east. This particular tornado may have lifted back up at this point, but we're still looking at a very dangerous storm, and we don't want to let down our guard until this storm has moved on to the east. So this is where we could see some of that rotation still taking place right through here, a little bit of a notch, and that's tracking on towards the east right now. These have been incredible supercells today that have caused so much when it comes to heavy downpours, triggering some flooding, and also this large size hail that we've had reported. And then, of course, as of late, tornadoes. And this is making a beeline towards you if you're in Christiana. So make sure you're taking those precautions and heeding these warnings we've been giving you to make sure that you're in that safest spot that you can be. You and your family, kind of make a game out of it. Head to your bathroom or over to perhaps a smaller closet somewhere and just, take some activities that you can entertain the kids, but also make sure you've got your phone with you and you downloaded our WSMV4 app because we can share our coverage with you while you're in your safe spot. This storm is headed towards Christiana, estimated arrival time at 6:39 right now, and that flashing line, that is that tornado watch with that warning, I should say, with that confirmed tornado that is continuing to move towards the east right now. What an electrical storm we're seeing with this too. Just a lot of lightning as the storm is moving off towards the east. Dan?
All right, Lisa. So the Weather Service is going to let this thing expire, this tornado warning expire. The weekend circulation is so weak now that they'll just go with a severe thunderstorm warning. So good news for you in Christiana, but it's not done yet. Again, 6:45 is when this runs till. So Christiana will have a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, these things can pulse back up. We've seen them cycle before. We've also seen other parts of the storm take on new life and take on new strength. And so east of Chapel Hill right now, we got to watch this area, this little notch that's trying to develop west of Bell Buckle. So Bell Buckle's in northern Bedford County, just east of Marshall County, and so we've got our eyes on you, and so you can track that eastbound, and so we look for any rotation within that, and for the time being, it looks a little messy, but again, we'll watch northern Marshall County moving into Bedford County in just the next little while. So we definitely had a tornado in Columbia based on what we've heard from ground reports, what we've seen from video coming in, and now we're focused on what's happening elsewhere in the mid-state. So that is now moving into Rutherford County. Still tremendous lightning with that. Still a tornado emergency for another 10 minutes. And then we have this one up here. This is our newest tornado warning, and we got to watch this because this looks even stronger than the one farther south does. This is really intensified in the last, let's go back 15 minutes. And so the tornado warning came out about 6 minutes ago. But can you see in Smith County, if you're in Carthage, you got to be in your safe spot. This tornado warning was issued for you and all your neighbors. It goes back to Hartsville, but I think the worst of the weather, while it's still coming down heavily with lightning and thunder in Hartsville, the tornado threat is east of you now. And it's moving into Carthage, right along the river there. And so please just stay calm and take you, your family, call your dog and say, let's go, and go to your safe spot right away. Let's check for rotation because it looks like it's really starting to get amped up there. And so for the time being, let me get a little tighter here around Carthage. Find where we're looking here, and it looks like we've got some inbounds and some outbounds right near one another. South side of Carthage. Let me clear the telestration and start over. So blowing toward the radar and blowing away from the radar on the south side of Carthage. So that's the area we're focused on. Could be a tornado in progress right in the middle of that tornado warning. And this is the way it looks normally. And so you can see maybe even a little farther north. This whole Carthage area, you've got to be in your safe spot and stay there until we give you the all clear. Bellwood, you don't have that yet. We talked about you 5, 6, 7 minutes ago. Hunters Point, Lebanon, it's just regular severe weather. So strong pulsing, gusty winds, maybe a little bit of hail with a heavy downpours, lightning, thunder. I think there's a little better chance for hail east of Hartsville now, approaching Dixon Springs on the northwest side of Smith County. The best chance for tornado, it's in one of these two little notches that we have in central sections of Smith County. So that's a look at Smith County right now. We go back to the Murray County one, and then it's also in parts of Marshall and Bedford. Looks like Bedford. Yeah, okay. So northern Bedford County until 6:45, confirmed tornado warning. So we've got a new tornado warning. It looks like for probably that cell that we're just talking about.
At Bedford, Coffee, Cannon, Rutherford. And, Dan, is exactly what we were saying about how these storms, they look like they're starting to weaken and then they're going to re-strengthen once again. So that's prompted this next warning that's going to be in effect for us. So just, make sure that you're hanging in there with us a little longer and staying in that safe spot as this latest storm has triggered this next warning, or this same storm has just re-strengthened and triggered this next warning that we're seeing right now. That's going to expand it a little bit farther off towards the east right now. And here we're identifying where that is located, and you can see it right through here, right around Christiana. So still the same storm. It's just getting a little more intensified as it moves towards the east right now and re-strengthening again. And this is the most likely spot where we could see that showing up on our rotation detector right now as it all moves towards the east here and it continues to travel over to places like Steeplechase Meadows, Christiana, Plainview, Short Creek, Colonial Estates. Those are some of the communities where we'll see it moving on in. Dan?
All right, so you have to be hunkered down at Christiana. So we were tracking what looked like a diminishing storm with a tornado history, and now we can see it may be tightening up again. So we're getting that close to that gate right around the west side of Christiana. So hopefully you're already in your safe spot. You've been hanging out there. Hey, we're getting very close to the interstate. This is Interstate 24. And so here's Christiana, is 231. It's crossing 231. This right here is Interstate 24. And then it's going to move across the interstate and get over closer to, I guess it would be Cannon County that's next in line. Yeah, Bradyville and Woodbury. And so just a reminder, we want you to be safe and make the best decisions you can. And so if you're not familiar with what to do, these are the tips. Go to your lowest interior room. If you have a basement, you are golden. But most of us in Middle Tennessee don't, just because of the structure of the ground beneath. And so you might have a storm shelter, but probably not. And so then you're talking about the first floor of your house, interior room. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So we're talking about closets and bathrooms generally. You want it to be a small room, because if you ever did an experiment with a big cardboard box and a small cardboard box and stepped on them, the bigger cardboard box will collapse much more easily than the small one. So a small room is inherently stronger than a larger room. Gymnasium, bad idea. But something like a really tight bathroom with no windows, that's a great idea. We're looking at Interstate 24 and Highway 96. So Murfreesboro, you're in the thick of it right now. I'll show you that radar perspective as we continue to go over these storm precautions. Once you get into your safe spot, you want to wrap your body with pillows and blankets. Cover your head with that, or even better, a helmet to protect yourself from flying debris and head trauma, and ride it out. If you're in a mobile home, in a car, those can be lofted easily in big bad tornadoes. And so it's actually better to abandon those and go lie face down in a ditch than it is to ride it out within, the confines of a car or a mobile home. Wow, what a noisy storm, Murfreesboro. Hey, if you remember an hour ago, and I think it was 5:30, we said, heads up Murfreesboro, about 6:45, 6:30, 6:45, this is coming your way. Timing working out real well. Thank goodness we're not dealing with rotation near you. That's farther south over Christiana. And so tornado warning, there's a little hook. There's a little indentation, and it's all wrapped in rain. You see the yellows, you see the greens. The area of concern is right here on the south side of Christiana. Let's pull up the velocities, and it's exactly, we just got a new picture, exactly where I just drew, over the south side of Christiana. And so just stay hunkered down, now moving along and east of 231. It's not going to hang there long because this thing is moving with a storm speed, so moving east at about 30. But heads up Bradyville, you're in the tornado warned area, and you would be next in line. And so the storm history has continued now into southern Rutherford County. It's going to stay north of Bedford County. That tornado threat is out of Bedford County. So even though you have a tornado warning, let's just check the expiration time until 6:45. You might as well ride it out 3 more minutes. Then Bedford County, you can come out of your safe spot. Let's check for rotation back in northern Marshall to make sure that other storm. There's actually a little rotation not far from Chapel Hill that we can't ignore. So we get the Christiana rotation. We've got this looks like broad, probably elevated rotation, but it's something we'll have to monitor. You can see right there, crossing 31, Highway 31 in just a little while. So there could be 2 areas of interest, but the one that's more interesting, at least for the time being, is around Christiana. Let's go back to Carthage. Carthage, we're not going to forget you. We told you to be in your safe spot. You have a tornado warning. And so right in the heart of Smith County is Carthage. It looks like it may be east of you now. We'll pull up the velocities, and it's sort of difficult to tell when they're all rain wrapped. It is a giant mess on the radar, maybe on the east side of Carthage, maybe right around here. But Gordonsville, to play it safe, I would be in my safe spot right around Carthage. You know, we talked about this 2 or 3 hours ago. Lisa and I have been wall to wall on TV continuously for about 4.5 hours now. Yeah. And our goal is to not finish until you are completely safe and we're done. And so we may take a break between rounds tonight, but we're going to be with you most of the night. Lisa, look at this rear flank downdraft type wind. So coming on the backside, the south side of Carthage. Yeah. So even though the rotation looks like it's probably over Carthage, between Alexandria and Gordonsville, the wind's probably howling right now, or if it's not, it's about to.
Could have a couple of different rotations in here. National Weather Service is also looking at what we're looking at here, and they're identifying that maybe a couple of different areas. And, you know, I do want to point out that we've been looking at that camera over there, and that's over near north of Christiana, and that's that other storm, and wow. I mean, it is coming down there, and just a few moments ago, it was just in the distance, and now it is just swamped the interstate at this point, and it's tough going there along that interstate. So we're still looking at that storm very, very carefully here as it continues to move on towards the northeast.